Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle YouTube channel. I'm Aeron, and it's time to talk about WWE Raw and fuck off. Do you know what? Okay, so the great thing about us not having the necessary amount of followers on YouTube to monetize and all that nonsense is that I can swear to my heart's content and it's not really going to affect us. I'm sure that if I put way too many swear words in here, this probably won't be seen, but on the off chance that it is, I'm just going to talk to you frankly and honestly about WWE Raw. This show is fucking garbage. It is shit. It is fucking AIDS, is what it is. It's so trash. It's so poor. And it has nothing to do with the talent. There's great wrestlers on this show. Great wrestlers who have good matches on this show, but the booking is horrific. And I've got to think that this is down to guys like Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. And if that's the case, both of you can go fuck yourself. This is a terrible fucking show, and the only reason I watch it genuinely is so I can do these reviews every week. There was nothing redeemable about this show. This is the last Raw before Wrestlemania, right? Wrestlemania 37, which is going to take place over 2 nights, which is going to have fans in it for the first time for a couple of years, because obviously last year and the coronavirus and everything that goes with that. So you would think, with fans coming in, that WWE would have the self-respect and the respect of the people who watch to make the best of a bad situation, to make the best of this situation, welcoming back fans. Nah. I very much get the impression that now that Vince McMahon got his $1 billion from Peacock, he don't give a fuck. He really doesn't. Fox paid good money for SmackDown, so SmackDown generally tends to have pretty good to excellent booking. Raw is just a dumpster fire, and they don't care. They really don't give a shit. I wonder how long before it goes below 1 million, because I genuinely think if it continues like this, it will. I am beyond pissed off with WWE fans who are so loyalist to the brand. And I like WWE and I love NXT especially. But how can you not make time to watch Impact or MLW or your independent promotions or Ring of Honor? But you can make time to watch this horse shit. And 3 hours of it as well. Fucking hell. How long until we realise that 3 hours is too fucking long? Most of your pay-per-views aren't 3 hours long, so why in fuck's name should I sit here and watch 3 hours of substandard garbage with fucking awful acting? Case in point, Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. Has anyone given less of a shit about a title match? This is 2 of the best hosses that the modern age has given us, and WWE, and particularly Raw, have somehow managed to make us feel like it doesn't fucking matter. Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. These guys are fucking great. These guys are absolutely fantastic. Left to their own devices, I'm sure they can have an amazing rivalry and I'm sure their match will still be great, but fuck me. How can you fuck it up this bad? Bobby Lashley has never had that much charisma, so don't let him talk. Let MVP talk. Even MVP looks like he just doesn't give a shit. Did you see his face when Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin had him up against the locker and they, by the way, kept calling him cripple? Yes, we get it. He's still got infinite amounts more of charisma than you two combined will ever have, so be quiet. That's just so stupid. Everywhere you look, there are stars on Raw that are trash. WWE Raw Tag Team Championships held by the New Day, arguably the best tag team of the modern generation other than the Usos, particularly as far as WWE is concerned. They're wrestling AJ Styles and Omos. Okay, well, AJ Styles can have a good match. Nah, he'll lose in 2 minutes to Xavier Woods. What? Why? Sorry, just totally ripped off Simon Miller there. Why? Seriously, that's probably why he started doing this, because he was watching Raw and thought, fucking hell. But unlike What Culture, we are highly uncensored and uncut. Ooh, yeah. My God, I miss you, Macho Man, because you would bring some much needed energy to this shit show. It is shit. 2 minutes, you give AJ Styles to wrestle. Fucking hell. Xavier Woods and AJ Styles know what they're doing. 2 minutes. Have Kofi throw a microphone at the huge guy. They're probably going to lose those tag titles at WrestleMania. I just don't give a shit about that. I just don't. What else do I give a shit about? Certainly not Matt Riddle and Sheamus. Who cares about that? Matt Riddle, you're a United States champion. I said this last week. He's running around on a fucking scooter. That's the highlight of the show for them. They think this is funny. They've even got subtle little drops. Oh, is he high or are we high? No, he's high. He's definitely fucking high. Even if you ignore all these horrible allegations that have been levied against him, some of which have some form of evidence to back them up, either way, Matt Riddle comes across as an incompetent fucktard. Why do I care about this character? He's not funny. He's not entertaining. The one thing he has going for him is he is legitimate, that he can fight. So what do? Oh, he comes out as a stoner and he's got a scooter. Oh, all those fucking people, by the way, who used to give me shit a year ago. Matt Riddle's fucking great. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I said from the get-go, Matt Riddle sucks as a character. And WWE is about characters. Oh, yeah, on the indies, Matt Riddle was killer. Of course he was, because he only had to go out there and have good matches. Didn't have to do fuck all else. Now that we're asked for a bit of personality, he ain't got none. He ain't funny. He's garbage. I don't care. That's your United States champion. That's supposed to be one of your premium title holders in this company. Hot garbage. Absolute garbage. All these rivalries, they mean nothing. Why is Cedric Alexander wrestling Bobby Lashley and having... That match went on way too long. Also, it's the way that they book these matches. Before the match, Cedric Alexander even admits, yeah, I'll probably get my ass whooped. Why are you fucking having a match then? Why am I supposed to care enough? Oh, by the way, women's division, which can normally save the day. You've got legitimately one of the best women's wrestlers of all time, Asuka. You have got arguably one of the most exciting main event level prospect talents in Rhea Ripley of all time. What's the build? Well, last week they had a contract signing. Okay, cool. And it was good. And Rhea Ripley flipped a table and he smashed Asuka in the face. So, how would you rectify a situation like that? Let me ask you out there, ladies and gentlemen, if someone threw a table at you and it hit you in the fucking jaw, and the following week you had the opportunity to do something about it, what would you do? Would you go up to that person and say, I'm not a big fan of yours, but if you don't mind, I'm going to dress up as Joseph from the Technicolor Dreamcoat, whatever the fuck it is. I'm going to dance around a little bit, and then I'm going to tag with you for 10 minutes before you inevitably dump me on my arse and turn on me again because I look fucking stupid. You've taken an assassin like Asuka, and you've made her look fucking stupid. I honestly am struggling to think of a champion that looks more retarded going into WrestleMania than Asuka, and she is my favourite wrestler. Wow. I gave her my Wrestler of the Year last year, and obviously, as recompense for that, they're trying to bury her into becoming the worst booked wrestler in the history of WWE. And at this point, I am amazed that the Raw locker room doesn't go on strike. That doesn't say, do you know what, Vince? Go fuck yourself, you wrinkly, ballsack-laden wank pheasant. We're all fucking on a strike, because this is fucking garbage. You broke up the Hurt Business. They're now shit and completely forgettable already. You make Asuka the most dominant NXT Women's Champion of all time, arguably one of the most exciting prospects in all of women's wrestling, who could arguably go down as the greatest women's wrestler of all time. When it's all said and done, you're making her look like a fucking two-bit hack. And by osmosis, Rhea Ripley looks garbage too, despite the fact that she looks incredible. By the way, Rhea Ripley really should be cast as a female Joker in a DC film because she looks fucking amazing, and I'm loving all the makeup and stuff, but as much as that match is probably going to be killer, I'm so disappointed. I don't care about WrestleMania. What are the other women doing? We haven't really got much for them, so just chuck them in a big old tag team clusterfuck. Told you they would, didn't I? Tag team turmoil. And then the following night, the winners will face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Great. Nobody cares. None of them are legitimate tag teams other than the Riot Squad, who have been buried beyond belief. How do people watch this show? Mustafa Ali versus Riddle, don't care. Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles, don't care. Your main event, your last match, right, before you go into WrestleMania, for Raw at least, is Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. Now, I like Baron Corbin. I'm one of the few people who actually thinks he does a great job because, spoiler alert, you're not supposed to fucking like him. And everyone says, oh, he's go away heat. He's a good worker. He's got a great moveset. He's really good on the mic. I like his presentation. But I don't care about him enough to see him in the main event. Especially not against Drew. And the last match before WrestleMania. And then what do we do? Oh, they can come out and have a little bit of a stare down. Great. Fucking hell. There's not a single match from Raw has any serious build enough for me to give a shit. Tag team title match, garbage. US title match, garbage. Women's tag team titles, garbage. Women's title match, arguably could be the complete show stealer of the weekend in terms of wrestling. However, the build is fucking atrocious. This show sucks. It sucks dick. Do you know what the biggest cherry on top of this dick-sucking show is? Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. Wow. Way to insult my fucking intelligence. Braun Strowman gets on the mic and has the fucking nerve to say, I'm doing this for all the people who have had to deal with guys like Shane McMahon all their lives, all the people that have been bullied. You literally, last year when the pandemic broke out, took the opportunity to go on social media and berate people who dared to ask their fans to try and help support them financially or whatever it was, in a time where people were being laid off, in a time where people had no jobs because of a pandemic, not because they opted to just walk out. It's not like these wrestlers were like, oh shit. And he has the nerve to say, yeah, well, if you can't fucking make it as a wrestler, it's alright for you to say, because you got Vince's thumb squarely placed up your inadequate anus, you fucking moron. You absolute fucking twat. And I'm supposed to sit here and believe that you are the saviour of all the people who've been bullied. Oh, I was always bullied as a kid. Yeah, what? About fucking 10 feet and 350 pounds ago? Be fucking have yourself. And even if you were, well, frankly, you've proven yourself to be a complete cockwaffle as an adult, so chances are you probably deserved it. What a fucking cum stain you are, Braun Strowman, and you have the nerve to cut a promo like that, which obviously was fed to you because you're not intelligent enough to write your own promos, let's be fair. Garbage. Absolutely garbage. And Shane McMahon, by the way, don't get me started on that man who sweats more than a fucking half-melted waxwork. Jesus Christ almighty. Yeah. How do you retain any water at this point? Oh, by the way, the line, I'm not just a man, I'm a man. You're a cunt, is what you are, sir. You are a 5-star cockwaffle, Shane McMahon, and this has got to be one of the worst built matches in the history of WrestleMania. Do you know what? People shit on WrestleMania 9 as the worst WrestleMania of all time. Right now, I would take that in a heartbeat over this fucking shitstorm. Why do we care? Especially with NXT Stand and Deliver. And the thing is, right, a lot of people are saying, oh, it doesn't matter too much because I get to see Stand and Deliver. For me, it's the opposite. Because that is going to be so fucking spectacular, I'm offended even more by your main roster hot garbage. And let's be honest, SmackDown overall is a better show, but who cares? You know, even their booking has been, yeah, sorry, I know you're all standing the fuck out of Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, but that build has been fucking garbage. You know, the best build on SmackDown has been for the IC title, and they've somehow managed to make that more racist than it possibly could be with a Nigerian drum fight. Go to your happy place, Aeron. Go to your happy place, which apparently is WWE NXT, because if you go anywhere else, you'll have an absolute seizure. This was a shit Raw, and this was the go home to WrestleMania. It was fucking shit. Tell me what was good about this show. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I cannot honestly, in those 3 hours, think of anything that stood out to me. Bad Bunny getting his car trashed by the high school jocks. Is this show written for 5-year-olds and people with a mental disposition? Because if it is, please tell me and then I'll understand. But it clearly cannot be. But I genuinely think Vince is writing this for 5-year-olds. I do. He must be. Yeah, Miz and Morrison are capable. They're painting a Bugatti. Painting a Bugatti. That's your go-home show to Raw. Let's beat up Bad Bunny, who has no experience in combat or anything. You know, looks to weigh about 150 pounds. Doesn't look like he'll threaten anyone. Ultimately, the only thing that's offensive about him is his haircut. And, yeah, let's paint his car. Fuck off. Man, Damian Priest, you have dropped the ball there already, haven't you, with him? Jesus Christ. No wonder he's had to step in, because let's be honest, a singles match would be absolutely horrific. The highlight of Raw for me, probably the announcement that Baby Rexha will be performing at WrestleMania, because she is so fine. And that will at least give me 3 minutes of happiness in what is probably going to be one gigantic shit sandwich this weekend. I can't be honest, I've got no interest in WrestleMania. I will cover it for the podcast. I hopefully will have Carl Wilkinson by my side to make it just that little bit easier. We will be covering it for YouTube and the podcast, so it will be available by an audio platform. But my fucking God, seriously, I doubt anyone's going to fucking watch this crap anyway, of me reviewing Raw, and I don't blame you, but I'm hope in some form or fashion this has been more entertaining than listening or watching anything to do with WWE Raw. That show is fucking shit. It doesn't even deserve to be on the air. And honestly, if you will all excuse me, I am more than happy to give it a skip and not even bother watching it. It's frustrating because I feel like I have to watch it the night after WrestleMania because that's kind of like the biggest one. But genuinely, I was ready to just jack it all in. I really was. At least as far as WWE Raw is concerned. This is the worst wrestling show in the world right now. Hot, garbage, honestly. I don't want to hear anyone complaining about AEW Dynamite being an outlaw mud show because although it can be pretty shit at times, my god, it looks like 5-star caviar next to this fucking horse shit sample. Awful. From myself, Aeron, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.